One of the greatest achievements of the Nayaka period in Tamil Nadu is the making of the Meenakshi temple at Madurai. It was made in the reign of Tirumalaya Nayaka in the mid-17th century and is one of the largest temples ever to be made. How much?
50 rupees.
50 rupees, okay. Thank you. What is the meaning of the bananas?
The 4 bananas.
Okay.
2 bananas of Parvati, 2 bananas Shivaya.
How wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. The great Meenakshi temple is like a city in itself. It has 2 shrines, one to Shiva and one to Parvati. Parvati as Meenakshi, the beautiful one, the fish-eyed one. So these offerings are all given accordingly. 2 bananas for Shiva, 2 for Parvati, Meenakshi. 1 coconut for Shiva, 1 for Parvati. In Indic belief, the final understanding is of the oneness of the whole of creation, which is termed Nirgun or Arupa, something which is formless, something which is beyond all forms, a great unity of all that there is. But as the great treatise states, deities are made in order that people are able to relate to them, because the abstract concepts of the formless eternal are difficult for the mind to grasp. Shiva is a personification of qualities within us. We look upon Shiva, we meditate upon him to awaken those qualities within us. Qualities of nobility, qualities of courage with which we must face the demons of our ignorance. Families are made around the deities in order that we are able to relate to the deities in a more human way. Relate to them even through our own emotions. Therefore, Parvati is made as a spouse of Shiva. And here she is as Parvati with the focus on her beauty. Meenakshi, Parvati the beautiful one. There are great festivals in this temple, annual festivals, monthly festivals, even daily festivals. One of the wonderful daily festivals is in the evening, when Shiva is taken with a great deal of fanfare to the shrine of Parvati, where he will spend the night with her. In the morning, they are woken up with sweet bhajans, divine songs, and Shiva is then taken back to his own shrine. As you might imagine, the temple is a great favorite with honeymooning couples.
Well, an essential part of the ritual life of the temple is that Shiva has to spend the night with the goddess, with Meenakshi. So every evening, a portable icon of Shiva is transported in a sort of palanquin, rather like a sort of almost like a prince, taken to the bedchamber where the goddess is present. And then the curtains are drawn, the doors are closed, and they have a night together. In the morning, he's taken back again. So the parallel is very much like a court, where a prince or ruler will spend the night with his consort. And this is essential to the functioning of this double goddess-god temple.
At 5:30 in the morning, Lord Shiva is brought back from the shrine of Parvati to his own shrine. It is wonderful to see how humanly and with how much warmth they are treated. In fact, in some Tamil temples, when Lord Shiva is taken to the shrine of Parvati, her large nose ring is taken off so that it may not scratch him at night.
The chief rite, the chief action that takes place in the temple from a religious point of view is the repeated marriage of Meenakshi to her lord Shiva. And this takes place, of course, at certain times of the year. And you see many sculptures and many paintings in the temple showing Meenakshi holding the hand of Shiva in the act of being married. And what's so interesting is that the god who gives her away is actually Vishnu. So Vishnu is also incorporated into the myth and the art of the temple. Well, there are, of course, the marriage ceremonies that take place at particular times of the year, the great festivals that leave the walls of the city, of the temple, and go into the city spaces are particularly important. What you will see on a day-to-day basis in the temple is this penetration of the commercial life of the town, that these markets, these shops that go into the great mandapas, the great columned halls of the temple. So as you penetrate into the temple, you make this transition from the lively world of everyday to a more rarefied world, I would say, of the gods, of the sanctified spaces. These huge areas that are covered by these halls and corridors, there can hardly be a temple with more covered space anywhere in the country.
The vast temple has 8 impressive gateways, one rising to almost 200 feet. These gateways or gopurams are covered with several hundreds of sculptures. Temple authorities estimate that there are 33 million sculptures in the Meenakshi complex. In the Nayaka period, large tanks were also made within the temple complexes, where devotees washed their hands and feet. We see here in the Meenakshi temple how people spend time relaxing within the temple compound. Indeed, besides being a place to meditate and to gain knowledge, the temple had grown to accommodate all aspects of life. Thereby, the temple also serves to remind us of the divinity which pervades all moments of our existence. spectacular halls with numerous sculpted pillars were made in the Nayaka period. This 16th century hall of 1,000 pillars has almost exactly that number of massive sculpted columns. Carved out of a single slab of granite, each pillar is a monumental work of art. Yesterday was the beginning of the preparations and celebrations of the forthcoming wedding of Shiva and Parvati. Everyone was carried away in joy. In fact, that is the purpose in Indic faiths, to be carried away, to lose one's sense of the self, and therefore to attain knowledge of a greater and finer truth.
These marriage scenes with the goddess and the god together, whether in painting or bronze, are of course replicas of these acts. And in fact, many of the temples of Tamil Nadu have these, I would say, these marital myths, because the legends are extremely important in connecting goddesses who belong to a particular place. Meenakshi only goes with Madurai. Pampa, for example, only goes with Hampi in Karnataka, with the great gods Shiva or Vishnu. So this marriage between a local goddess and a great god, a great pan-Indian god, is essential to the religious life of the temple. It works in two ways. These local goddesses become upgraded to become consorts of the great Hindu gods. Meanwhile, the great Hindu gods come down, in a manner of speaking, to be localized in the traditions and the landscape of a particular center. So this charge of horizontal and vertical, I would say, religious force is essential to the religious life of these temples, particularly in South India.
I don't know whether the Hindu marriage repeats it or whether the marriage of Shiva and Parvati is based on the Hindu marriage, but it is the same form, you know, the gifts that are given to the bridegroom. The most important thing though is the ter or the rathas, the chariots which go round. And for 10 days this divine marriage goes on, and each day you have a different ratha who is a devotee of Shiva. And it goes from Nandi, Adhikara Nandi, you know, because you cannot go near Shiva unless Nandi gives you the permission. So he has the Adhikara Nandi. You have Ravana, who with all his faults was a great Shiva Bhakta. Then you have the Aravati mover, the 63 saints, the Shaivite saints or Nayanmars, who are the ardent devotees of Shiva. And then you have a lot of different local vahanas. It may be the Ashwa, the peacock and so on. But one of the days is always the ter, the chariot. And what is important is that during these festivals, all the people came out. You see, you have the Sthalabera, that is the Moola Vigraham, which is the deity carved out of granite, which cannot be moved out. And then you have the bronze deities who go to the village, go through the village, go to the people. And they come to homes and they are greeted with the aarti and gifts and so on. And the chariots and all are pulled by the people. And this is an occasion where caste, creed, everything breaks down. Anybody can go, even women. I have pulled chariots myself. So even women can pull the chariot. So it's a fantastic social cohesion which comes into being. But yes, the marriage ceremony is completely the Hindu marriage ceremony. Meenakshi, what do I say? It's grandiose, it's huge, it's really the ultimate in-temple building with so many gopurams, and it's a whole town within itself. I mean, the rest of Madurai, I think, developed around it. As I said, Meenakshi temple probably represents, it's probably nearest to the original lifestyle that an entire kingdom, the king's court, would have led. I mean, we still have villages where you have a very traditional lifestyle, but within the Meenakshi temple complex, this is where the king and his nobles and the priests and the sthapatis and everybody would have lived. And the lifestyle is a continuing lifestyle. You have the shops and the markets selling all kinds of things, and it also adapts with the times. Like nowadays you find plastic bangles and so on, which are contemporary. But I think the most important aspect of the temple is its continuity of a certain lifestyle. And even when you go in and in and in, and finally you come to the Garbhagriha, which is quite small, and you really don't know that the village started out so small. So I think that is the main thing. And of course the rituals, the entire system over there is continuing, because whether it is the pujas done for the Navagrahas or the Rashis, which are all over the place, it still continues. There's been no letting up on any of those.
The temple is very interesting because one of the biggest temple in South India, we can call it, because the main activities of the Tamilians believe that they are emotionally attached to Madurai.
Goddess Meenakshi is a daughter of Pandya Maharaja. Goddess Meenakshi was taught all the skills for a king, and she was made a princess of Pandya kingdom. Then she defeated all the places in this world and she went to Kailash. While seeing Lord Shiva in Kailash, she felt herself that she is the pair of Lord Shiva. Then only she realized that she is the Parvati. Every day there will be a procession in the morning and also in the evening. This procession is basically for the physically ill people and who cannot come to the temple and who cannot see the temple, that is main deity. For themselves, Lord Shiva himself coming outside and giving darshan to them. I am also a degree holder, but it is our family, we are a hereditary priest of this temple. So we learnt all the puja mantras and everything, and the puja system, everything from the childhood itself. There will be a class for us in evening. Every day after coming from school, we used to learn Veda, and then we come to this temple after getting married. Only after marriage we are eligible to do the puja. Before marriage we are not supposed to touch the idol or enter into the sanctum. Education is just to gather a knowledge, but temple and temple pujari work is apart from that knowledge. It is a very, what do you say, the world knowledge is here. Getting salary and working for some others, it is different from doing a pujari work. Pujari work is pleasing the entire society. It is a service to the society, not to myself.
As per the Brahmins, we are every time to quiet, so that we won't hanker with everybody. We do the service from the chanting the mantras and do the service from the peoples. When I start the education, when I was young, 8 to 15 years, I studied for the part-time for the Agama Vedic in Madurai Meenakshi Temple, Padasala.
I born in December 1951 at Madurai. Just behind where I am standing, that is 100 meters away from the temple. I actually studied near a temple only. That school name is called is Annakuri Mandapam, which was also attached to the temple, and our playground was inside the temple only. So from my age of 5, I started visiting a temple regularly. I was working in Madura Coats, leaders in textile in Madurai, Coats Vaila UK group as a senior executive export marketing. What is the relationship my hand is for me? This is the same relation with my temple. Meenakshi mean to me, all to me. Actually, suppose I have something in my mind, suppose some problem is not solved by me, I thought of her. Definitely she give solution to that. For normal human being, what they do, when get problem, the money will come. But here, the money comes first, then only the problem come. That is the Meenakshi. The temple actually, it is center of the city. It is just, the city is just like a leaf of the lotus. The center is temple. That is where the civilization has started in Madurai 3000 years back.
The Meenakshi temple at Madurai is a world complete in itself. Within its vast spaces, we are taken far from the confusions and concerns of the material world. It celebrates the divinity which is in all aspects of life. The ancient rituals of the temple awaken the sense of joy which can be found deep within us. A sense of joy which colors our lives completely.